Hi, I'm Azduel, and today I'm going to be providing you information on the Mage in the new and upcoming season of Discovery, which is essentially Classic Plus. To do this, I'm going to be watching a video by MetaGoblin and focusing only on the parts about the Mage. And I will be reacting to his video and providing more information from myself if there is anything that can be added to it. Alright, here we go.
On the 30th of November, class design is about to be totally redefined for Classic WoW. Seasonal Discovery isn't just vanilla classes with a little bit more spice, but they're being totally redesigned from the ground up with a heavy...
I wouldn't say they're being totally redesigned from the ground up. Keep in mind that the original class talents and skills are going to be left completely unchanged, and they're going to be as they were in vanilla. So those talents and skills that you know from the classes like the Mage, the Pyroblast, Fireball, those are all going to be there in the same talents. What is going to be changed is that they're going to be adding runes, which is a lot like in Diablo 4 if you play that, affixes, things that you can add to your armor that give you new skills and abilities. So in a way, they will be totally changed because you're going to have those new affixes, which are additional skills, and those new affixes are completely game-changing. But I wouldn't say that they're being totally redesigned from the ground up because it's not really true.
Heavy focused on more fun and hybridization.
That would be good.
Guys, I think Blizzard are only just getting started. In the future, it wouldn't surprise me if things became even more groundbreaking. It's great to see Blizzard actually taking some risks and experimenting with what a Classic Plus server can become.
That's good, and I completely agree with MetaGoblin here. It's nice to see that they're taking risks and changing things. And then I also think that what doesn't work or what's just not popular can always be undone. So it's been said before that the Classic Plus Season of Discovery is going to be kind of like a beta, so it's good to keep that in mind, that things can change if they're no good.
And nonetheless, these new class additions at a first glance can be a little overwhelming. I mean, what
totally
should
agree.
We play now with all of the changes? Well, by the end of the video, you should have a better idea on what class to roll.
Yes.
Or you get so excited that the decision becomes even harder.
That's
just
possible
remember,
too.
Guys, that the theme of this seasonal server is discovery.
Alright, so now what I'm going to do is jump to his section on Mage and see what he has to say and add to it a little bit.
Mage runes will allow you to be any kind of mage that you want to be because of all the hybridization, but also weirdly allow you to become a healing.
So he's about to say a healing mage, which is totally going to change things. It's going to be weird. I think I'm excited for it. I'm not entirely sure if I love the idea, but when you think about trying to gather a dungeon together, obviously the classes that you're always looking for primarily is tank, and then after that is healer. So if you can have a viable mage healer so you can do DPS and be a healer, that could reduce the wait times for those dungeons. So that could be a good thing. And it's also a big change that may add some spice or make the mage a little bit more exciting.
DPS hybrid. I think instead of Mage having 3 DPS specs, Arcane will become a healer hybrid. People think that it's a bit cringe, but to me it makes sense. I mean, there have been many wizard mage characters in other fantasy universes that are healers. Like, for example, the sorceresses in the Witcher franchise.
Yes, yeah.
Regeneration is a long hot effect that doesn't do as much healing as a typical hot, but converts 100% of your arcane damage into healing through the temporal beacon.
So this is a huge thing. So it sounds like, well, he's right. It's not a huge heal over time here, but it looks like, and it's obvious that being an arcane damaging mage is going to boost your ability to heal as a mage, which is, he's mentioned before, the hybridization. So being an arcane mage is going to let you be a powerful healer potentially at the same time. There's new skills with Mage coming out that he's probably going to talk about here soon, but being able to be an arcane mage doing a lot of damage and then having that damage as an arcane mage funnel into healing is an interesting prospect.
And both. This simultaneously applies when you put regeneration on the target, but can also be applied by a new AoE heal called Mass Regeneration. And a rewind ability will reverse the damage taken.
So that's something to keep in mind too, is the Mass Regeneration. Again, this is subject to the damage done, your arcane damage done. So, you know, we're seeing the hybridization, and that healing goes hand in hand with arcane damage again here.
Called Mass Regeneration. And the rewind ability will reverse the damage taken in the last 5 seconds by all targets with temporal.
So this is a huge one, the rewind time in terms of healing. So this is a huge one, rewind time, because for 5 seconds removing all the damage could be huge if you've targeted the correct character. So either, I guess if you put it on the tank, then that's going to be clever because that'll redo all the damage. Or if you are fighting a boss, obviously you would want to put it on the highest damage mob or the boss itself and then have that damage undone.
Beacon. They've also added a very hard-hitting arcane damage ability called Arcane Surge that deals damage based on your remaining mana. Scaled by...
So that's exciting too. A really kind of like big finishing move, and then at the end it increases your mana regeneration. So to kind of finish off, kind of like an execute almost kind of thing is what I see this as. So that's pretty exciting. It'll be neat to experiment with. So it looks like Arcane talent or an Arcane Mage is going to be more viable, especially now that there's going to be that kind of hybrid with Arcane Mage and the healing aspect.
300% of your total mana, but it does actually consume all of the mana and increases regeneration after. I really don't want to know what this is going to be like combined with a Pom Pyroblast. Iconic mage talents and spells have also been added like Fingers of Frost, Burnout, Living Flame, Icy Veins, Ice Lance, Arcane Blast, and Living Bomb.
So these are all exciting. It's just going to add more flavor, more things that you can do in the rotation, potentially change the meta of what you can do as a mage, and probably quite early on. So it's kind of exciting that all this different flavor and different ways that you can be a mage is being added. And everybody probably remembers Fingers of Frost, which is going to be huge. Ice Lance, of course. All of these are abilities that weren't around in Classic but are now being brought back in Classic. So it's going to add a bit more depth to the mage's ability, or the mage's toolkit here.
The improved elemental ward talents from TBC have also been data mined.
Alright, so that's what we have for the Mage here by MetaGoblin. This is an excellent video that he's done here. He's got a whole bunch of additional information. He talks about every class. So I will put a link down in the description. I recommend watching it. Anyways, thank you. I hope I gave you some good information about mages here. Thank you. I'm Azduel.